For Gallmeyer. Let's play it again.
I love that river. we went to the river one afternoon and she changed her name to River. That's what I like about Candace. He's so hardcore. Wait, are we live? Brian Garrity. Oh. Your swim shirt gives me the feels. Here we are, just another day in the life. America. Oh. What are you doing, Alfred? Showing us all your Star Wars stuff? Oh, Alfred, you're on mute, brother. You're on mute on the live show.
On eBay for $45, I picked up the original unaltered Star Wars trilogy on Laserdisc.
Are you gonna watch it on Laserdisc?
Yeah, I got a Laserdisc player. I got to replace some bands in it to run the disc, but
is it okay?
I got it like 30 years ago, and it still works.
You seem excited about that.
I am. Little things.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny, it's when this came out like 95, it was like the definitive collection, and now they've had like definitive everything since then. Is this the song Candace did?
No.
I say it sounds really good.
No.
A bit like 90s R&B. I'm gonna use the restroom. I'll be right back.
All right. Sober Saturday's call-in show coming at you in 5 minutes, 8 p.m. East Coast time. Hosts Alfred from Yorktown, PA. John Wharton, Ocean View. Tiffany Tipper, Portsmouth, VA. And our host, Matthew Douglas Cole from the podcast Nest, Go On Productions, Ghent, Norfolk, Virginia, where we will answer your questions if you call in, if you just want to listen to us chat. I think today we're going to talk about what's it like your first 30 days without drinking? First 30 days of sobriety. That's always the toughest.
Hey John, at the end, I'll remind you to shout out. Next Saturday is the Jam on Earprov.
Okay.
I'll type it in the chat, but that's gonna be a fun show. This music is short, but relaxing.
It's not Candace's.
What?
It's not Candace's.
What do you mean it's not Candace's?
Is it?
Yeah. It's the one that you sent me.
I'm so mixed up. Is it really?
It's the one on the podcast that we... Yeah.
Is that her singing in the back?
I didn't think so, but it may, I don't know. Ask her.
I thought, what? Is this hers?
It sounds like a sample of something. I don't think it's really her voice.
I thought this is what we use for the Sober Saturdays. I'm so mixed up at this point.
Really?
I can't remember.
I
thought hers was more funky.
This is pretty funky. I mean, it's not like, Bootsy Collins funky, but
Sugar Hill Gang.
Send her a message back and be like, hey, we liked what you did. Can you just make it maybe a little more funky?
Yeah, a little bit more funky. More funky, but put the K in funk. Take the fun out and put the K. So it'd be like if you're wearing a swim shirt. This is what I don't get. Then it sticks to you, and then you turn on, and then you get out of it. No, nobody wears a swim shirt unless you have a horrible rash and you're in a boogie boarding contest.
Yeah.
You don't wear a swim shirt.
It actually look worse.
Yeah, you do look worse, Brian Garrity, if you're listening.
Especially if you're wearing a white t-shirt. It's like, see that big belly hole crater? Belly button, I meant belly hole. What's that?
All right, we got a minute till the show.
I mean, could you imagine before Rambo jumped in the water? He's like, I want to put on a swim shirt.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And Rambo rips his swim shirt off before he jumps in the water.
Yeah, Matt, I paused this whole live screen. Get Brian on the phone. I hope he's listening.
Swim shirts and jorts, right? Is he a jort kind of guy? Because he used to talk about that a lot.
No, not anymore. But Ed is. Ed Carden's still jorts with the cargo pockets.
I don't hear much from Ed these days.
Oh.
He's probably busy with school.
Kids.
School, kids,
my theory is if he's so busy with his kids, give one of them up. There's social programs all over America that'll take care of your kids. Or give him one. Give one to one of the other of the pushers that doesn't have a kid.
Brad.
Alrighty.
That's like Bad Dad. This is like a new Norfolk presents Bad Dad.
Norfolk presents Bad Dad.
All right, guys, it's game time. I'll introduce John, and then John can introduce y'all. Here we go.
We need some callers.
Coming to you all the way from Norfolk, Virginia, Go On Productions and Earprov.com presents Sober Saturdays live stream call-in talk show with your host, John Regan Wharton.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, wow. We must have 1 million viewers with an introduction like that. No place I'd rather be on the first Saturday of every month besides my living room with a cardboard table and my microphone and my barking dog and a couple of my sober friends. My name is John Wharton, and I'm here in Norfolk, Virginia. And is this our 4th or 5th one, Tiffany or Alfred?
I'm gonna go with 5th.
I think this is our 5th one. There's 5 fingers on a hand. This is our 5th one.
Not to be confused with a 5th of liquor.
Yeah, there's a 5th of liquor. Yeah, the 5-finger discount. There's, I believe this is our 5th Sober Saturday show, which we do live call in. And really this started just so we could kind of get together during the pandemic and talk about, how we were staying sober. All of us have a couple years. And as we started to talk to some of our friends who have just a couple days or who were maybe questioning some of their alcohol consumption and their mental health. But my name's John, and my last drink was March 16th, I think 2005. I think I'm coming up on 16 years in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And my friend Alfred there in Yorktown. How are you doing, Alfred?
Doing well. I'm here in Newport News with my 5 cats. So we're here.
Your 5
tonight.
your 5 cats and your 30-year-old laser disc player.
Yes, I got the definitive like Laserdisc edition of Star Wars from 1995, so I'm excited about.
And are you comfortable and remember when your last drink was?
July 9th of 2004.
Wow.
Maybe the midnight, a little bit after midnight, July 10th. I blacked out, but July 10th is my sobriety date.
Okay.
2004.
Okay. Yeah, and you and I met each other very early on. I'd like to talk about that in depth at some point. We actually met on the phone through a. I called a helpline when I was in Pennsylvania, and Alfred answered, which is crazy. And our friend Tiffany Tipper in Portsmouth, Virginia. We love you, Tiffany. What do you? What is that?
It's a laser disc.
Oh my gosh. So I was making fun of laser discs and you guys have them. I'm not cool.
Hi,
Tiffany. You look great.
Thank you so much. So do you.
Oh, thank you. And thanks for putting us on TikTok this week and today. Are you comfortable saying, and do you remember when your last drink of alcohol was?
It was December 14th, 2017.
Right before the holidays. You were crazy. What were you thinking?
I was thinking that it was my last straw, literally.
Yeah. We can kind of laugh at it now, but I know it was tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. Yeah. Oh man. So tonight I still, maybe I'll get off of it. I can't remember this is our 4th or 5th one, but I've enjoyed doing these. And I'm going to say, you have something in the chat. Someone's saying that laser disc you held up was huge. You know, what do you play that on? Is that a hula hoop? Like you play that on a record player?
I don't play it. I hang it on the wall.
Oh, so for Target?
I have a player.
I opened it once and it scared me. And so I closed it.
That is funny. That is funny. Tonight we do have a phone number that you can call in, 917-426-6794. Don't be scared by our title, Sober Saturdays. We really talk about anything with mental health, alcohol free, what we did in the early stages of giving up alcohol. What we really like to talk about is those first 30 days, why we stopped drinking, what we did in place of drinking. Looks like, do we have anyone there in the chat? Can our host see anyone or drop anyone in there? Am I missing anything? Maybe our friend Darrell watching? Did he give us a like there in the chat? Hey Darrell, thanks for tuning in. 917-426-6794 is our phone number. But Alfred, do you remember in the first 30 days, how did you sleep when you first gave up alcohol?
Not well. I had insomnia for about 18 months. But I went from drinking alcohol nightly to smoking cigarettes and drinking a lot of coffee nightly at meetings. So
nicotine and caffeine, yeah. Replacing the addiction, and also it's kind of like an oral fixation as well.
Yeah, plus most of the people at the meetings, a lot of people were smoking outside, so it kind of helped you talk before the meeting and then after. And I smoked on and off for years. I quit smoking for one of the many times in '98, and then when I started living sober, I started picking it up again. So it was about on and again, up again for 3 or 4 years, and I quit finally 7 years ago smoking. So, but I used to, I didn't feel comfortable because I drank at home a lot, and I would watch movies and TV and listen to music. So it was a long time before I could do that comfortably. So I would find myself going to a lot of 12-step meetings and just going out to coffee with people and just learning how to be social without alcohol.
How about you, Tiffany? Can you remember some of those first 30 days? I mean, so you went through December, Christmas, January.
Yeah, the first week was rough because I was like withdrawing. So I was going through all the withdrawal symptoms and it was giving me really bad anxiety on top of everything else. But I was lucky because I had a lot of really good support. I stayed at my parents' house while I was withdrawing.
That's awesome.
I actually, my boss at the time, I straight up called my boss and said that I was having an issue with alcohol and I needed to take some time off. And he just said, "Fine, go for it. I'm here for you." So, uh, besides the withdrawal, I feel like once I got past that, I feel like my sleep and stuff like that started going back to just like being good, restful sleep pretty quickly.
Was your last drink, did you know it was your last drink? Did you have like one last hurrah? Or did you start to feel sick and you're like, this is all I got?
I kind of had one last hurrah. Like I remember like being cold and shaking a lot, and I was smoking a cigarette, sitting at the door to the patio, like freezing, just like what the hell is my life? And I think there was like a few glugs of a wine bottle left in my room. That was, I guess, technically my last drink. And
By
I
yourself.
knew, yeah, I think I kind of knew, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And you
I did
also
not plan on July 10th.
Yeah. And you were also smoking cigarettes during that time. And did you still smoke then sober for a little bit?
Yeah, I smoked cigarettes probably for the first year, and then I switched to a vape.
Oh, I can never picture you vaping.
Well, I thought, I mean, it was helpful because it got me to stop wanting the burn of the cigarette.
Yeah.
Something to do, but it upped my nicotine addiction. So, man, that was rough. Quitting cigarettes was really rough too.
Yeah. So you smoked for like your first year.
Yeah.
And sobriety. Yeah. 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 This first 30 days, anxiety, because I think a lot of us, as the longer that we go now that we're sober and we talk about mental health and we think about like how to be calm and relax, how to be creative, how to be in a healthy relationship, like we're having those withdrawals, anxiety, and we start to think like, do we need to be on medication? Do we believe in medication? Am I crazy? I started to have some thoughts like, am I crazy? And then I'm like, having those conversations with people, like, do crazy people think they're crazy? And I fought the idea of medication for a long time. I did not take medication in my first 30 days. March 16th, I stopped drinking. That was my mom's birthday by kind of a coincidence, but I stopped actually February, and I went to my first 12-step meeting, and I realized I felt very comfortable there and I liked it. It was in a college town and I recognized some people, and I sat in the back and I wouldn't take off my coat or my hat, and I drank coffee, but people were laughing and singing happy birthday and joking around. And I was like, how do they do that? I'm about to lose my driver's license. How are they laughing and joking around? I was having trouble. And then so I didn't drink for maybe 3 weeks, but I had no skills in my toolbox, so to speak. And I had no, I didn't know what to do if the idea of a drink approach came my way again. And I went out with some people for a work thing, and everyone was drinking, and I just started to drink again, and I didn't like it, and then I remember the next morning I woke up, and I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done, because I had tried to stop, maybe 3 weeks before that, but I was having a lot of stomach issues and some issues with my driver's license and DUIs again, and some debt. But I had a lot of anxiety after I stopped drinking and a lot of trouble sleeping.
Yeah, I couldn't go near Granby Street.
Wow.
So I was working on Granby Street. Now, thankfully, at this point, I was working at a restaurant that was kind of more family friendly. So didn't really have like a bar, like there was just beer and wine, as opposed to like another place I had worked where, there's liquor abound. But I used to, at that time, I didn't have a car, and I would walk home, and I would always walk down Granby Street and stops or whatever, because it was on my way. But I had to like go like just through the neighborhoods, because I just, for the longest time, I couldn't be near them. Like I just,
So there's a saying that say change people, change places, change things. And I've even heard people say change your path, the way you go to work, the way you come home from work, because those things are burned in our brain.
Yeah.
So you're telling us that you had to change where you were walking?
Yeah. It was
because is that when you thought you were crazy? I'm being funny with that.
I can relate to that because I used to go on the way home from work. I would stop at the grocery store, stop at 7-Eleven or the gas station. So I would not stop at a grocery store, 7-Eleven or anything. I would go like at odd times I usually didn't go, that I wouldn't be drinking, because I would just immediately go right to the beer aisle, maybe get a couple of things, but it was always to do that. So it was maybe a couple of years before I went to a 7-Eleven or a grocery store after work.
Wow. I didn't realize how much drinking played a part in my life, from things of even like going to buy deodorant or buy toothpaste. And I would start to add things up in my head, like what? Toothpaste? Like $4.95? I could spend $4.95 on this type of alcohol, or, like a 2-pack of deodorant. Are you kidding me? For this much, I could spend this on alcohol, and how much I'd fight with that in my head,
things to drinks.
Do you still think like that? Yeah. Oh my gosh.
We have a comment from one of our friends, Danielle. She says that I had to change my dog walking route to avoid my favorite spot in the first month or so quitting drinking. That's amazing. I can totally relate to doing that stuff. Thank you for your comment.
Yeah. Wow. Change places, change where you go. We associate so much, and we do a lot by habit, and boredom. That's very interesting. How much drinking and alcohol played in my life. Someone's sending a lot of love to you. Hello from France.
But Eva said sending a lot of love, and Reiner says hello from France. Welcome, y'all.
Oh, we have a call.
Yes.
Hello, this is John. You're on Sober Saturdays.
Hello?
Hello, this is John. You're on Sober Saturdays. What's your name? Or how can we? What's going on?
I can't hear you if you can't hear me.
I can hear you.
Call back.
It's always tough with the live show, but yeah, you can call back. Maybe that was someone from France, because is he calling back in? Oh man. So we're talking about today your first 30 days early sobriety. Hello.
Hello?
Oh man. So your first 30 days. I don't know if we lost him there. Maybe our producer can help with some of the sound.
We're having some technical difficulties. We're trying to work through them now, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, our first 30 days. So tell us about that. Your first Christmas and your first New Year's, Tiffany. Because you're at your parents' house. Can you remember?
No, I don't remember that at all. Honestly.
Do you think you just slept through it?
At the time, on the topic of like changing things.
Yeah.
At the time, I decided that I was going to do this program, an expedited teaching license program. And so I just dove into studying. So that's really all I remember from that time, is focusing on that.
So yeah, I feel I can relate to that. Like, need my brain, something for my brain to work on, something to focus on. Yeah.
It's amazing you said that, because I was drinking full time when I did my accelerated teaching degree. It was like full-time drinking, full-time studying, getting ready for my boards, student teaching, and part-time work. It was just one of the most stressful periods in my life. Me and my buddy who went through that, we were like, whew. I don't know how we did it, but I can't imagine going through something like that sober.
Yeah, we can tend to be workaholics and tend with addictive personalities can tend to shove a lot in, at the same time. Did so in those first 30 days, that's what we're talking about tonight. You can try again to call in if you like at 917-426-6794, or I'll keep sharing bits and pieces of my story. But I do like hearing from my friends and my hosts some of their story. Alfred, did you, and when you gave up alcohol, were you living on your own, living with family? Did you go into a treatment center?
It was on my own. I was living on my own. Me and my 2 cats, and I just went cold turkey. July 10th, I did not plan on quitting drinking. It just happened that day. And I remember coming home from a 12-step meeting, and I dumped out all my beer and alcohol.
Okay.
And I couldn't have it in the house with me.
Yeah, and then you got 3 more cats.
Yeah, I went from 2 to 1 to 6 to 5.
Yeah. Okay. That's
for a period of like 9-10 years.
Yeah. I also got rid of my alcohol. And actually, this is something I just thought of in the first 30 days. I got rid of my cable television and I never went back. So for the past 15, 16 years, I've had internet and streaming services, but I've never had cable television. Something else is in the chat there. Do you guys see that?
I do.
Totally relate, Tiff. I took on a new advanced yoga teacher training module, then a writing workshop within the first 30 days. Thanks for sharing, everyone. Thank you for commenting. And Eva Lorraine liked our stream. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Also, when I gave up drinking, I lost my license again for the 3rd time. I went on this house arrest, and I remember I went through all of my CDs and burned them onto my computer. So that's the phase in the year I was in, early 2000s, and I took all of the CDs I had books and books of live shows and CDs, and burned them onto my computer and threw away the CDs, canceled my cable, did a lot of walking, drank a lot of coffee. I slept with the lights on for a while.
I did too.
And I would do usually 2 showers a day, sometimes 3 if I was bored, but I slept with the lights on for some reason. And I went through these weird phases of things where I believed I needed to be uncomfortable. So I maybe would do things to be uncomfortable. Then I would do things maybe I was feeling guilty. And then I would do things to make myself comfortable. I don't know if that makes sense. Things like, oh, I need a lot of pillows. I need more pillows. And then things like, no, I don't deserve a pillow. I'm going to sleep on the couch. I would do these weird things like that to myself. I don't know if anyone can relate to that.
Oh, yeah. That all the time. We're the biggest bullies to ourselves, aren't we?
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Bully. Yeah. I would do something like, oh, I really do, now I have some money. I really deserve a nice coat. And then I would do something like, no, then in my other end, no, you don't need a coat for wintertime. Save that money. Sometimes those things still pop up. It's funny to talk about it, but I'm way better at balancing that now. But that was horrible in early sobriety.
Well, I used to drink to not think. Unless some stuff like that would come up, and I remember one time I had this 3-alarm hangover, and I got the employee of the year, and I was like, you didn't deserve that. And I was like, yeah, I proved I could work and drink full time. It wasn't the best thing to do, but I would get awards or people say good things about me, or I felt I didn't deserve any of it because I just was I had such a low picture of myself.
Yeah. Well, here we do have a question. So someone's typing in, hey, I currently drink after work and when I've had a stressful day at work. Can you talk about how you've handled stress like that since you've been sober? So I'm hearing, hey, I drink after work and when I've had a stressful day at work. Can you talk about how you've handled stress like that since you've been sober?
Okay. For me, having drinks felt like a reward at the end of a hard day, right? So I still treated myself to things, but instead of them being alcohol, it would be like a juice, like a nice, like a cold pressed juice or something, like something that was vitamin rich, like something where I'm I'm still having a drink, but it's instead of it being something that's just numbing me, it's giving me benefits. I would do a lot of stuff like that. I don't know about y'all. I would still I would still reward myself with something.
Mm-hmm.
But I just started focusing on vitamins a lot. I don't know.
No, I like it. Yeah. And even I have some things I'm thinking about, but Alfred, what does that make you think about?
Today, when I make sure I don't hold it in, one of the things I heard earlier was a problem shared is a problem halved, and I don't carry it with me. And if I'm stressed, I need to get it out of my system because it'll just grow and fester, and then I'll get to the point where I have to do something about it. And when I drank, and until I went through a program of recovery that got me away from a drink and gave me some tools like the Serenity Prayer or some other things to deal with stress. I was getting further away from a drink. It's like I look at things like pretty basic, but stress comes up, but we just learn how to apply some stuff we learn.
So I'm even thinking more. So this is how this is how I'm thinking about the question is I'm going to change my environment. So if the person who wrote the question is still listening, this is things that I would do. So if stress comes up after work, I'm going to start planning. And if you're a planner, so I'm going to know, okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, so Monday, I'm going to go somewhere right after work at 5:05. I'm going to go. Go ahead.
Like a movie, like something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I did a lot of. Well, I did a lot of adventures. And stuff.
So there you. Okay, so that's what I was gonna say. Adventures. So because I liked what Tiffany said about rewarding yourself, and if it's still like an oral thing or have a drink, let's do some fun juices. Let's do some LaCroix. But you know what? Life's an adventure. Let's do 5 cool things. So on Monday, we're going to go to the longest pier on this side of the world, Ocean View, Virginia. On Tuesday, we're going to go to the Botanical Gardens. Wednesday, we're going to go to the movies. Thursday, I'm going to go to the thrift store and just like force myself to do different things. And then also I had to find a social group of people that didn't drink. And I had to remember they're not going to look like me, smell like me, be as old as me, act like me. Because in the beginning, I always just hung out with people that drank like me. And so I had to create a social group, as awkward as that felt, of people that didn't drink. Did that come out right?
Mm-hmm.
And I for me, I couldn't sit there. I couldn't. So I had to go do something else. I like what you said about adventure, Tiffany. What does that make you think of?
Well, for all of the daunting things that we talk about the first 30 days, there's also the childlike adventure exploration of the first 30 days. Like
yes.
Again, like when you get to the point where you don't remember what you were like before you drank, that means that you kind of lost a part of yourself. And then once you take away drinking, you start to recognize this person that you've been neglecting for all this time. And on top of that, like you have all of this spare time now. And I just remember getting, like I just would explore. And I spent a lot of time alone. I didn't have any friends that didn't drink. And I didn't know how to be social yet without drinking. So I got to know myself and it was cool. I liked it.
Sitting by myself is not good for me. Sometimes being around that long, someone sitting alone by myself isn't good for me.
Mm.
So I have a plan.
Does it differently. John's frozen in the funniest way.
But he looks like he's like totally disinterested, about to fall asleep. Or he's in a very deep contemplative state. He's probably astral projecting.
Which you can only do.
Hello, you're on Sober Saturdays.
Hello. Maybe unmute the Hello.
John's frozen in the funniest way.
Yeah, he is.
But he looks like he's totally disinterested, about to fall asleep.
Can you hear us?
He's probably astral projecting.
Okay, I don't know what happened. So as per usual for the day, it seems we're still having technical difficulties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, what were some other things you did Well, when did you start getting to the point where you felt like you could go around people more than you were? I remember it took me a while to get, like being around family was kind of difficult because I had a family member who still drank, and I was uncomfortable being around it. Like sometimes I had a situation at work where I had to be around it, but I knew why I was there. I wasn't there to get loaded, but I was there to be helpful.
Yeah, because my immediate family doesn't drink, and they were very supportive. So I ended up spending a lot of time with them, and which was really great for our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I just did more things. I went to more shows. I went to more movies.
Mm-hmm.
I tried more coffee shops. I think everybody starts drinking more coffee. I mean,
Yeah. It was like weird going from alcohol to coffee.
well, I'll take it, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And it's about changing. Like one of the things that was difficult for me to hear is like you got to change people, places, and things. Well, I lived in a house, I had a job and a car. I couldn't change all that stuff, but I had to change my approach to that stuff. I couldn't use it in the same way. Like I said, I couldn't stay home by myself for a long time. And usually I'd be out late, maybe grabbing coffee after the meeting. And just by the end of the day, I was like so wore out that my body just had to sleep.
Hey, he woke up
Hey,
from
John, you're muted. You're on mute, John.
There we go.
Where did I go? What happened?
I think you went to the Daystrom Institute or that place in Virginia Beach with NASA projected.
Oh my! What did I miss? What year is it? Oh man. Yeah, we were just chatting, and I don't know if my internet went off or if the computer went off. But do we have any other calls in?
We had one, and I don't know what happened. We're still having the technical difficulties, it seems.
They may need to turn off the when I called in, I was having trouble when I had the audio of the show going and then the phone going. It was like we were not in sync.
Yeah.
So I would maybe suggest turning the audio for the show off when you call, and then when you're done with the call, turn it back on because we are delayed by about a minute.
No, that's good advice. Boy, I was really thinking about what you said about reward, Tiffany. Like we like to reward ourselves. I think it's okay to reward ourselves, but maybe changing the reward is what I was thinking about. And then I really liked what you said about, it's kind of like being a child. I think what you were getting at those first 30 days, exploring, getting to know yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think I really believe that the alcohol was hindering that exploration and that consciousness and that creativity and pushing me down further into a mud hole of oblivion. And now that I've removed that, I ain't scared anymore and anything's possible. I don't need a swim shirt, I'm just, and really anything's possible.
And sobriety is possible without, I like that I'm here, but because I feel like right now with pandemics, people might be confused about like how to do AA or whatever. And I like to be able to be the one that's like, hey, if you can't make it to AA, there's other ways to inspire yourself to continue an alcohol-free life. And,
yeah.
So for me, I use social media to my benefit. I rid of the things that would trigger wanting to drink, and I created an Instagram atmosphere where I was only seeing sober people or healthy people or people that inspired me to continue on this journey, other people that have been through it. And that helped so much because I'm a millennial and I spend time on social media, and a lot of that, we spend a lot of time on social media, and there's a lot of influence there. And, so I made sure that I was creating what I was absorbing so that I wasn't absorbing more reasons to pick up a drink.
No, that's smart. Do you remember, are you comfortable sharing what that Instagram was if anyone wants to follow it?
I don't know that I have it anymore.
Or that was just you during that time, yeah. Into kind of curating your environment.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's really smart. Yeah, that's really smart. Yeah, I hope sometimes we use the word 12 steps, or Alfred and I are pretty open about some different things. And him and I actually even met in some of those meetings, but that is definitely not the only way. That was just my very early experience, but it's definitely not the only way. And really the most important thing yeah. And really the most important thing here is don't drink. If that's an issue for you, where you're actually tuning in, or you're thinking about giving up alcohol, or you have concerns about yourself or a friend, I was thinking the other day, probably the only thing I've done well is like not drink. Like that's the only thing I probably can give advice on.
You're good at being a friend.
Oh man, thank you. Boy, that is my love language. I am so glad that makes me feel so good. I'm going to sleep well tonight. Boy, that makes me feel good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you're a good friend.
Hey guys, thanks for being on tonight. Hey,
Gary, my man.
Thank you. You're welcome. It's our pleasure.
I think Gary has not drank since the very first time he called in, and that's probably been 4 or 5 weeks.
That's so awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I wonder if our friend Darrell is still listening. If he did call in last time, 917-426-6794. But so he's a friend and an artist who's thrown himself into his music, into his art, definitely into music, into writing. I think he's some reading, some different things. And I remember he told me one time, I was thinking about this, that he'd pick an album, something like maybe Black Sabbath or Metallica, and just listen to it all the way through, kind of like, oh, I haven't listened to Queen in a while, so I'm just going to listen to all of Queen's stuff, And really when you're sober, you have so much time and you're just not scared anymore, so it's okay to try new things. What are some new things that you've been trying now, Tiffany?
I have since I'm not teaching anymore, but I hate the idea of all of these poor kids doing the same assignments over and over again. I'm in the process of making a teachers pay teachers account so that I can make just exciting work for students to do in school. Mm-hmm. That's more along the lines of how 12 and 13-year-olds learn, because there's still like a huge gap between different types of teaching, and one of them doesn't work. But anyway, I want to create things that actually help students learn. And I've also been sort of into jewelry. That's the other thing, making jewelry.
Making earrings and bracelets and things?
I mean, I haven't made any yet, but I have all the things. Yeah.
Make me a cool man bracelet.
Okay, I'll make you a man bracelet.
Yeah, just whatever comes out of it. Alfred, you've gotten into painting figurines, you got into podcasting, walking, improv comedy, writing, collecting stuff, probably going through cleaning, organizing. Anything new on your?
I'm watching old shows from the 70s. I'm about to wrap up Barney Miller, which is a New York detective kind of comedy show that was out from 74 to 82, and then Get Smart with Don Adams. I'm watching a lot of old mysteries, and I did that early on in the summer, and then I've got in some old shows. I've been keeping up with The Mandalorian and The Expanse, and I've been involved with playing some role-playing games, and I've got some ideas for some I want to run. So my brain's all over the place. It's just sitting down and doing stuff.
Yeah.
And I also deal with Parkinson's. I need to keep on top of that. So that's not a hobby, though. That's something I got to do. But
you know what? And it's okay to make mistakes. Like Tiffany, it's okay if you get into jewelry and you like it, you don't like it, you're good at it, you're not good at it, but you just make something. Like there's like, who are you comparing yourself to? It's, you know what I mean? Go for it.
I will.
And so I got to remember that too. You know?
Exactly.
And if Alfred, if he wanted to get in to start making jewelry, that's cool.
Yeah.
And if he does it for 1 year, 1 day, or he never does it again, that's okay.
Be open-minded. That's one of the biggest things is I get sober and it's like, what's out there? What if I always wanted to try that I said I couldn't do drinking?
Yeah. Say it again, Alfred.
What would I want to, if I'm not drinking now, what would I want to do like years ago that I said, no, I can't do that. I feel too negative or like what's preventing you from doing that? Now that we're not drinking, what is it? Is it fear? Go for it. Because it's like I used to drink over fear. You know, it's like if I drank enough, I would dance. Now I can dance without drinking. Back then I was so afraid of what other people think. Well, screw them. They're.
You know what? I think that might be the next thing on my bucket list. I've done, comedy, writing, podcasting, grew my hair long. I think dance, sober. I'm a horrible dancer and I was really nervous, but I've been doing some dancing. I think dance. There's one of our friends is writing in and he says he's about to start teaching a Pilates class, virtual lessons.
Oh, nice.
I believe he's in his first year. So no, he just hit a year a little while ago. That's awesome. And then our friend Gary wrote in. And I'm pretty sure this is Gary. I hope he's okay if he says this, but he says he thinks he's at 135 days sober.
Wow, that's awesome.
Gary, that sounds like almost half a year. 135 days, that's a long time. Yeah. And actually, I'm getting a text from another friend says that they got themselves a journal. They don't want to write in, but they says that's what they said, hey, I got myself a journal and I've been writing. That's really cool. So thank you. There is some people listening. That's really cool. Just kind of putting your thoughts down on paper, getting them out of your mind. As Alfred said, a problem shared is a problem in halved. Yeah.
One thing that helped me get a better outlook on myself, we're talking about the first 30 days, is at the end of the day, I would make this list of 10 things I did well or good that day. It was 10 things I accomplished, whether it's washing a dish or emptying a litter box or getting the mail. It's something I normally would not do that I was able to do because I was sober. And that would help me sleep. So I did 10 things today that were good.
I like that you said that. I'd like to talk about that a little bit. I still do that, make a list. And I was talking with someone this summer that helps me with my anxiety and my depression is I'll kind of go back through and make a little bit of a list. Because my head gets obsessive and it wants to list things. Can you relate to that at all, Tiffany? Like, do you ever make a good gratitude list or a good positive list? Are we all cut from the same cloth?
I make lists all the time, and I jot down little notes and little things all the time. And
do you think
and you do what you got to do each day, like whatever it is that day that you need,
Do you think you ever would have came to Push Comedy Theater and did musical improv if you were still drinking like 5 years ago?
Absolutely not. I can't believe that I act now. Like that's
Are you an actress?
I guess so.
Yeah, like do you try out for stuff and get it callbacks and then like get lead parts?
I did that did happen. So
yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, we have an actress. Yeah. That. Yeah.
I hide my Mountain Dew off camera, like
product placement.
Yeah. Like actually, drink Mountain Dew. That's funny.
It's the Zero. It's actually really good.
Okay, I'm drinking a Zero too, a Coke Zero.
I am 3 tea and Coke Zero.
Oh my gosh, we're all drinking. Okay. So Eva, our friend, are you still listening and watching? We're all drinking a Zero soft drink, and I know we all had coffee today at some point.
I had coffee, tea, and Zero. Except my tea was decaf.
Wait, are you okay? Yeah, she's double fisting. Yeah, we still have issues with drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I can't break. I'm a person that has to have lots of liquids, which doesn't work well when you're an alcoholic.
Yeah.
But like I always had to have like as a person, I need to always have a drink near me. So
I was thinking about something the other day, and let me know if cut me off if this story goes too long or if this makes you think of something. Definitely in my late teens, early mid 20s when I was drinking, I would not go with anyone anywhere in a car unless we were like going to drink, we're going somewhere to drink, or we were drinking in the car, or we could talk about drinking. Like I wasn't just like gonna ride around with someone to get groceries or like go with someone to like visit their mom. You know what I mean? Like if I was going out somewhere, like, and I was looking to like even crack one open in the car or to like talk, like I definitely wasn't going to ride because there's times I went camping or to music festivals. I was not going to ride with anybody for hours that was not going to let me drink in the car. I don't know if anyone can relate to that, or that makes you.
Because there's like some of those moments with those friend groups that you have when you're a drinker where there's that moment where you haven't had any drinks yet, but you're all in the same room and you realize just for a brief moment that you probably wouldn't be friends unless you guys all drank together.
Yeah.
But then you forget about it and get drunk, and then like trying to avoid that at all costs. Totally. I get that.
That's interesting. Yeah. I was not able to just, I was talking about that. I was not able to, because after I stopped drinking, there was a group of people and I was like, no, I'm not going anywhere with that guy, with Pete. Are you kidding me? Like if I'm going to get with Pete, like we're going to get wasted. And just comparing a lot of things to alcohol, like what, $10 for gas in my tank? $10, I could probably get a cheap case of cans, just like really fighting with that stuff in my head.
Mm-hmm.
See if we have anyone else there in the chat. We had some good momentum there.
Yeah.
Had someone text me about a journal that they're writing, or writing in a journal.
One thing is it's good to be vigilant, especially this time of year, because the lights of the holidays are the luster of the holidays is wearing off, and we're getting into the winter. It's starting to light up, but it's not perfectly yet. And this is where I can get into the doldrums. I've got to watch out for depression and just the fuck it's. And it's just time to be vigilant.
I have to say, for all the people that got sober during COVID, you are genetically evolved. Like I cannot believe that you were able to do that. Like I'm so proud of everybody that got sober during this pandemic. Like that just seems so hard. Like wow.
So there was a lot of people that their drinking or their alcohol consumption got worse during the pandemic because maybe they were freaking out or they were scared. And there was a lot of people that got sober. I've been in a lot of conversations with people, and I know Tiffany has and Alfred has, and we all have. And some of them may be listening and some of them may not be listening, but they know what we're doing because they send us messages. But were you saying, Tiffany, that you were proud of them and you were almost amazed at the number of people?
Yeah, well amazed at every single person I hear that tells me that they got sober during a pandemic. I'm legitimately like shocked that that strong of a person. Like I just instant. Just.
I was thinking early pandemic, and I think I did not put this joke on social media, but I was thinking early pandemic, like this is a great time. If I was drinking, I'd be like, hell yeah, work from home. Like this is great. I can just drink at home with my shoes off. I don't have to go anywhere. Like it's just really tough.
We have two comments from our friend Daryl. It's like there are boozy buddies and drinking buddies and friends, or like a boozy illusion. Feel me?
Yeah. I think maybe he meant just on our screens. And then I see we have another comment here that says he did notice that folks that were getting sober during the pandemic started to reach out to him because he had a good year or so. And so when we put ourselves out there, we never really know who's listening or watching. There's
a surprising number of people who a friend of mine was sharing today that she started a meeting and it's grown exponentially. And then there's people who got sober and now they're sponsoring other people who are new. So there's this whole new generation of people getting and staying sober using Zoom. It's just amazing. People, when first started, people are like, I don't think it's going to work. How are they going to get? And it works.
That is really interesting. Well, I think if you want something bad enough and you're ready for it, and kind of, when the student's ready, the teacher appears, whether that's Zoom or a mentor over Zoom. I think when it's your time, it's your time. When it's your time to get sober, it's your time.
Who did you guys tell during your first 30 days? Because I didn't tell so many people. Like, I can't believe how many people are open with everything these days. Like
Oh yeah.
I quit. Nobody except for the people that helped me really knew.
I told my friend Gary, not Gary who's on this, but my friend Gary who now lives in Texas, and I think one other person I was very close about. I didn't tell my parents for about a year and a half. These are my really close friends. My friend Gary, we've been very close over the years, and I've known him since high school. So I had to tell somebody, but I wasn't ready to tell other people because I had this thing like whenever I told people I was quitting something, I would always go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I figure if I don't tell people, there's more chance that I'm not going to go back to it.
Tiffany, I did not tell a lot of people, and I'm a big social person, and so I had like a good group of friends. Some of them I knew since I was very young that actually I was like in college with, and some of them knew what was going on with me, DUIs, and they knew I wasn't drinking. But then like my immediate friend group didn't know, and I did not tell my family. So I started getting sober in March, and Mother's Day is in May. And I remember I would always go home for Mother's Day, and I didn't go home. And I remember like kind of making something up for my mom. And that was kind of hard. Like I still wasn't ready to tell her I wasn't drinking. And we have sober people in our family. And then I have a grandfather at the time. And I remember I was 10 months sober before I called my grandfather and told him. I still couldn't, and he was going to AA. And so I still could not out myself because I still struggled with, can I do this? Is it the right thing? And then I was maybe about a year, and I have an aunt and uncle that go to some meetings, and I started to go to some meetings with them. But a whole year I did not tell them because in some people that I work with, and I never told. And I made it all through with like no driver's license or paying off things and walking places. But things changed for me very quickly. In like my first 90 something days, like with my company, I kind of got promoted. I was asked to take a new job. Like some of us are like good workaholics, you know?
I like, yeah, it was like exponential success.
In some,
like,
oh yeah. In my first 90 days, I started paying off debt, and I was promoted, and I moved. Now, some other things, maybe emotionally or relationship wise, I struggled with. But
I'm gonna be inspired. You know those apps that you can get that track how long you've been sober or whatever. Well, you can also put in how much daily you usually spend on alcohol. And when you see that number after a few days, even, and how much money you're saving from not drinking, it's incredible. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was really afraid to tell people because they maybe they're going to hold you accountable, and like Alfred said, I didn't want to like tell them something and then like quit it. And also I think because I knew I had a problem, like people saw me get sloppy, and I knew my drinking was kind of getting dirty at the end.
Like you weren't bathing or.
No. Like I would like on a Tuesday night, I may go get sick in the bathroom at a restaurant, and then like come out, like wipe my face with a napkin, have a glass of water, and start drinking again.
Yeah, I used to do that.
To a bar at
What's
like
that?
I threw up behind a building on the way to a bar at like noon.
Yeah, I would.
I woke up and like wanted to go to a bar, and I couldn't. I was hungover. So, I mean.
I would throw up, and I would make jokes with my friends, and people would be hungover. They'd be like, "Oh man, I can't drink for tonight, or I can't drink for days." And I was like, "Oh, I have that feeling, but I'm going to be drinking in about 2 hours." Like I was just like, I know I'm going to be drinking.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up something. Tomorrow's the Super Bowl. You don't have to drink.
Yeah. Yeah, I went for the longest time with never seeing the Super Bowl. I would go to parties, and I don't know where I would end up, or I'd go over to someone's house, but I had no idea what was going on. I would end up places. Yeah, I was very spontaneous. But yeah, you don't.
You still are.
I think this is the best I've ever been under control. Am I still?
So John.
Could you see if I was buzzing? I'd just be in my car and in another state. Yeah, because I had a lot of trouble sitting still. Yeah, that's good, Alfred. You don't have to drink. If someone out there's, you don't have to drink.
And you don't have to go. I mean, you can watch at your house, or you can go do something else. Maybe go to, I don't know what there is to do, but don't feel like you have to go do something because it's the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. If you feel more comfortable doing something else, by all means. But if you want to be around people, I'm saying this, but you don't have to drink. And if you feel like it,
Can they
call
email?
somebody.
Can they email you, Alfred?
Yeah, at sobersaturdays@gmail.com. sobersaturdays757@gmail.com.
sobersaturdays757@gmail.com. And
Saturdays.
yeah, and you can call someone. All of us here in the group have called or texted one another or hung out with one another in person when there's times. So Alfred's usually my go-to person. Tiffany and I do talk as well and hung out. I really enjoyed that day. And I almost reached out to you this week, but even just having you and thinking about you and like maybe a conversation we would have in our head kind of helps me, because I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about Tiffany this, and I'm like, oh, so she kind of has this energy about her, and this was like, so sometimes even just thinking about reaching out is helpful.
Yeah.
It's nice. I mean, thank you for being you. Like I said.
Yeah. Sometimes just reaching out. And then I was thinking about why we do this show, and this is kind of selfish or weird. I was almost posted this like, we don't have 100 people watching, and I don't have the answer to get sober, but I'm staying sober, and my friend Tiffany is, and Alfred is, and we're having fun, and we're accountable to each other, and it may not be perfect, and it might not.
I know how much it helped me having other people share their stories. So
Yes.
If that's all I got to do for somebody else to, take control of their alcohol problem, then, that's great. I'll do that. That's fine.
Our friend Darrell, who's listening, says he just felt like he had to be all the way open about not drinking because he was an artist and he was out and about and he was playing music, and just to kind of let people know where he was at in his life so he could hold himself accountable. And it worked. And he said also he started to get really good advice. And I know because him and I started talking, I know a time that I was with Tiffany and we ran into him and I introduced him, and I think I outed him a little bit about his story, and he was okay. And then we have another mutual friend, him and I, Beth, and I know he said he would meet with her for coffee sometimes. But I think our next one is going to be, so let's say February 6th.
March 6th.
Okay, so our next one will be March 6th. What would be, Alfred, if you were meeting somebody who hasn't hit 30 days yet and they're struggling, what would you say maybe just like, one piece of good advice would be? And they want to stop drinking.
Be honest with people. Just tell somebody that, hey, I'm struggling and I want to make 30 days. But the biggest thing is, the biggest thing was huge for me was it's one day at a time, and I don't have to drink just for today.
One day, yeah, I think tell somebody one day at a time. You don't have to drink just for today. How about you, Tiffany? If you're messaging with someone, or someone came up to you and said, "Hey, I have 8 days not drinking. I want to make it to 30. What can I do?"
Continue to find ways to channel that inner child and get creative with your life and explore and just do anything but drink. You have so many other opportunities, and it's just a fun time to explore.
Yeah. Actually, I really like that about channeling the inner child. Like, we could have a whole show about that, So our next one's going to be on March 6th. It's going to be a Saturday live stream. You can always catch it on earprov.com. We also have a Sober Saturday Facebook page. I have a couple different things. I also have like a Norfolk Artist and Allies Sobriety Facebook group. I love talking about sobriety, and I'll be a good friend and always respond to your message. I know Tiffany or Alfred does if someone reaches out to us on social media. And our friend Jamie Etheridge just sent us a nice message, says, "Hey, I shared your stream. I appreciate you all. I know she listens, and I think she's at her year sober."
Nice.
But
And
Tiffany, go ahead.
It's a podcast too now. Like,
yeah, tell the people what we're doing.
what we're doing is we are doing just mini interviews of people that want to share a little bit about their story with sobriety, and we're releasing them as short podcasts, and you can listen to these interviews at sobersaturdays.podbean.com. And I mean, it's amazing to me because every single person is so different, yet we all struggle with something similar. And there's something beautiful about everybody sharing that human experience and getting to listen to other people's lives and stories. So
that's where we identify.
Yeah, where we can identify, and we're going to keep doing that. I have some more to release, and maybe our host will drop them in this chat message. But bigger picture, our friend and host with Earprov, Matt, has helped us produce and edit these live streams and podcasts. And we all met at the Push Comedy Theater. And next Saturday at 8 p.m. on earprov.com is something called The Jam. And this is not the first time they've done this. And it's an improv comedy show celebrating the inclusion and diversity, featuring the Diversity Council of the Push Comedy Theater. That's going to be next Saturday. I think that's the 13th. And that's going to be at 8 p.m. Earprov.com. And then we'll be back on the 6th of March. And you know what? Okay, I'm feeling something spontaneous and crazy. I'm going to say it live. Okay, so for my sobriety birthday around March 16th, 17th, 18th, that weekend, should we try to talk Matt into like a 12-hour live stream? And like we start putting things together, like and we get, music, and we try to find, podcasting, talking. You're making jewelry. Do we do something crazy like that?
Soberola.
So I don't know, just think on that for a minute, for a bit. You don't have to respond right now. But I think that's all we have. I think if I bumped into somebody who told me that they were stopping drinking, I would, or they had some questions for me, I would say, hey, I'd look them in the eyes. Do you really want to stop drinking? And just see how they respond. And if they say yes, then I think really I'd say, hey, I'll be your go-to person for a couple of days. Let's check in with each other. And I'll kind of help you weed through those times when you're stressful or anxious. But listen to when your triggers are. When do you drink? Is it after work? Is it, when you, is it when you're sad? Try to figure out what your triggers are.
For all the people listening, your sober homework for the month. I want people to try something new and come back and report how it went.
Try something new sober. Yeah. And maybe write a poem, go for a walk, call a friend, write a letter. We had someone that says they wished and they thought this was every Saturday.
Maybe ask yourself, will the drink help?
But unfortunately, it's not, and our time is up.
Yeah. But hey, our time is up. And
thanks everyone for calling, listening, commenting, liking, streaming, sharing, doing all sorts of things we do in the social media verse. We thank you very much. Without y'all, we can't do this alone.
Yeah, this was an awesome show. I'm checking out
for you
from the beach. And I'm maybe going to try to talk our producer into a 12-hour live stream end of March. Are you shaking your head?
I'm shaking my head at the comment here. He's going to put in the chat in a second.
Yeah. He's going to say you're crazy for saying that live. All right. Thank you, Alfred. And thank you, Tiffany. And thanks for all the people that called in and watched. I really appreciate it. And remember, next Saturday on earprov.com, we have the Jam.
And thank you. And for Tiffany and I, thank you, John.
Yeah, thank you.
And you don't have to drink just for today.
Be well.